Shashank ji for being here
My
with
pleasure.
us today, and I've been watching your shows right from '93, and since I follow the Heartfulness meditation. I've seen few of your concerts in Chennai and few places where our master Shri Sarthi Rajgopalachari, uh, he was a big fan of you, right? You played a lot
Right.
for him.
No, he was truly my spiritual master and a great man who did a lot for me. He was also responsible not alone for you know me being a part of SRCM, but also he took my concerts to Europe and South Africa and US, and I've greatly enjoyed my performances for our brothers and sisters all over the world, and I continue to meditate and all that. So
Since you're a teenager, you took sittings and you have been meditating since then, or like when you started the meditation?
when in 1995 I was just about
95.
17, so
Oh, okay,
something like that.
okay. So I have seen you. I've seen you in '90s, and maybe you don't know me, but I have attended your performances, and I've seen your dad, how much he has traveled around with you. So can you talk
No.
about how it all began?
My
The
main
flute.
guru were only 3 people. Even today my father continues to be the person I always consult, you can say. My father was the person who taught me, put me into music, taught me. Yeah, and he was a driving force. Yeah, absolutely. And until my early 20s, he was traveling with me, and not just managing the concert, managing everything. So it was, of course, yeah.
So tell us some inspirational message for the young generation who wants to pursue music, especially those who are brought up outside India and they get exposure to a lot of visiting artists and everything. But you know how things are so different between learning in India versus learning staying abroad. So what is your message for young generation?
Actually, I feel young generation of America, especially, have contributed a lot of wonderful talents to the music system. So, I think they are very, very talented. They have, with a lot of sincerity, they are pursuing music, and I see a lot of wonderful talents who come and perform in Chennai. I can only speak for Carnatic music because I don't know much about Hindustani music scene, but I do know a little bit of the Hindustani scene also. So overall, I can say there's a great interest in classical music, and all these students are doing very, very well. The only thing is, I think they should not get discouraged, because this art form, acquiring art is one thing, getting an opportunity to perform is another important thing that is very hard to come by.
Yeah.
So the only thing I feel is these kids have to keep themselves motivated and try their best to get opportunities to perform, and every opportunity they get, they should make the mark, and that's the only way possible, because they are competing with the best of talents from India as well, and around the world, including there are many great talents in UK, Australia, everybody pursuing Indian classical music. So the whole international Indian community abroad has immensely contributed to the art, not alone in their patronage, but also many talents. There are many times when we come here and use local artists who are part of the community to accompany us. We have had very good experience. So it is
So
really,
overall, you're happy with how the music is flourishing outside India?
yes, I'm extremely happy. There is no doubt. What happens, where they take this art form, how they take it further, is always a challenge. That is the only area that really is worrisome to me as an artist, because These are so many talents coming into the field, and uh, they have to compete, struggle, and whether they have the perseverance to go through 20, 30, 40 years of a hard struggle to make it big is a question.
Okay.
Certainly, Hindustani music has much more opportunities than Carnatic music because geographically we are only 4 South Indian states where Carnatic music is predominantly popular. So that also extends to the communities abroad like Tamils, Kannadas, Malayalams, Malayalis,
Yeah.
Andhras are the only main community that support Carnatic music. But coming back to the point, so I feel these kids are doing very well, and they have I mean, they have a good chance of making it good in Indian music.
So you said they are good. They have good chance of making a career of music. Or what were the challenges you had when you were growing up, and if you recall any example?
I was too young to find or be affected by what happened around because I was 10, 11 years old when I really, was into big time performances. So there was a time when my father used to feel the stress because no kid performing a senior level performance at their teens will have it easy because you are really challenging the very senior artists competing in the same space. So it was always a challenge. That challenge still exists, and so there were a lot of challenges. I think challenges are what makes you harder, work harder, and I'm very thankful that way. The organizers and the public at large were very, very encouraging, even back then and even today. They were extremely encouraging, and that's how I came up. So I've been in this field for about 34 years now. So it was never an easy ride, especially with a lot of divide between, at a very fine level, you had divide between which language I spoke, which was my background, and I didn't come from a pedigree music family. So that was other thing that people had apprehensions about how I acquired my art. So because people were generally used to the father being a legendary musician or a grandfather being a legendary musician and coming through some lineage and having a history to talk about, because many musicians, though they were very talented, they are also the backing of their legacies. So but I didn't have any of that. So I am an example of somebody who taught himself to play the flute, and I didn't have a guru for playing the flute. And my father was an example of doing so many things in the industry that were never done before. So I think it is possible for everybody to survive. There's no dearth of opportunities like that.
Really inspiring what you shared, especially down the road, the young kids watching it. I know kids work very hard, and listening to someone like you, the legendary flutist, I should say, in Carnatic field, is really inspiring at that young age. I remember you as a child prodigy. I proudly say I know Shashank since then, and we have same spiritual master Chariji, and Chariji was a big fan of Shashank, and then how we had so nice time sitting around Chariji, chatting, chitter chatting. And definitely those days are bygone, but now we have the great master Daji. And
Daji is a very knowledgeable. I respect him a lot. He's a great man and has been very also supportive of my music. He invited me to play last time when he toured the US for Heartfulness. And certainly a very, very nice person. And very, very happy.
Yeah. so nice. Yeah, we are looking forward to your concert here tomorrow, and I have attended. I cannot have enough of your concerts. Let me tell you that.
I hope I do a good job. Yeah, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
So tell me, what are your future endeavors? Like, what is one thing that you dream of in future?
Oh, I'm not a person who dreams. The only thing I would say is to take Carnatic music to a wider section of audience, get them as used to it as Hindustani music, for instance. I know it's an uphill task, but there's more acceptance of Carnatic music around the world, and I do hope there's much more acceptance than what it is today. That's my primary goal. Let's see what happens later. We can't predict.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Well, Shashank, I really appreciate that out of your such a busy schedule, you took out 10 minutes for us.
It's not a big deal.
For,
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure talking to you. Yeah.
It is so much of pleasure, and all the best to you for your upcoming dreams and yours, and keep inspiring us.
Oh, if the audience inspire us, we can be inspired and we can play better music, hopefully. And then, so it's mutual.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I know
Yeah.
it is mutual. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for your time, Shashank.
Thank you.
And all
Thanks.
the best.